Greetings, you all. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of F Your Feelings Friday. I am your hostess and your melanated queen, CEO and founder of Brown Girls Are Beautiful, y'all. I hope everyone under the sound of my voice have been having a wonderful week. Mine has been a disaster. It has been very trying. It has been very devastating. But nonetheless, y'all, we're going to give thanks. So let's go ahead and do what we do. Close our eyes and bow our heads, join hands, and let's give thanks. Everybody under the sound of my voice, we want to give thanks for being able to breathe today on our own, being able to have the necessities of food, shelter, and water, having hot running water, having clothes, um, having family, having friends, having colleagues, neighbors, anybody that truly cares about us, even your pets, you all, that is a part of the family too. And a lot of people have lost their pets. So we want to give a special shout out to them because I know that can be a very disheartening feeling. For those of you who have reliable transportation, just give thanks for that. For those of you that have, you know, a job where you're not being harassed and tormented by your manager, where your coworkers are not getting on your nerves, where you don't mind doing your job, you're making a decent amount of money. Be thankful for these things, y'all, because so much is going on in the world today. And if you have your personal safety, let's be thankful for that. You have the wherewithal to think on your own, good of sound mind and judgment. Let's give thanks for that. And everybody, we're going to give a special shout out to the haters, okay? Because no matter what they do, we're going to always be great. Let the church say amen. And without any further ado, y'all, I'm going to come on here and let y'all see what I'm looking like. Make sure if you like this channel, like, share, and subscribe. You also can Cash App $BGAB clothing. All right. You all know it is every day, all day, no days off. So, y'all, let's let the games begin. Let's get into what's going on around here. They have people shooting in the drive through. People are actually shooting in the drive through. I know some of you have heard about this story. It's crazy. It's not funny because it is a very scary time that we're living in. People are going crazy. I don't know. People's patience are thin. People's patience are short. People just, they're not for it. The shenanigans. Y'all got to be careful at these fast food places, y'all. So let's go ahead and get into it. How y'all doing today? Here I am, y'all. Here I am. All right. Oh my goodness. Okay. And so, y'all, we're going to go ahead and examine this video at the Jack in the Box. I think I might have visited there once. I don't frequent this restaurant. I don't eat there. But for those of you who do, be very careful and very wary, okay, about the customer service that you receive. And I mean, a lot of stuff is going on, y'all. At Popeyes, they've gotten into fights. Wendy's, McDonald's is getting physical between the employees and the customers. And I don't believe that mantra that the customer or that mantra that the customer is always right. No, I don't believe that. Because a lot of times what I understand is when people work in customer service, they think it's okay to be rude to the people that are serving them. And for whatever reason, they have this heightened sense of security, this heightened sense of emboldenedness to disrespect the people that are serving them, especially someone that's fixing your food. Why would you ever want to disrespect the people that are messing with your food? It makes no sense to me. Now, I'm not saying that this is what took place at the drive-through window because there was no sound. But what you clearly can see is that there was a physical altercation that ensued. So let's go ahead and examine this video, you all. All right. So before I begin, let me go ahead and read this article to you. All right. Now, what we have here is Tuesday, September 26th. 11:14 p.m. is when this was reported. Jack in the Box worker defends herself after being sued, accused of shooting at customers. Okay. It says here the Jack in the Box employee who was captured on video allegedly shooting at a customer in the drive through over a dispute over a meal is telling her side of the story. She said, I'm not an angry person. I'm not a mad monster out here. I'm just a woman trying to work for my family. Alania Ford Theriot told ABC 13. On Monday, attorney Randall Callanan refused to release the video, excuse me. He recently obtained through discovery in a civil case. The video is from March 2021. I didn't even know this happened back in March of 2021. So it's a civil case. It sounds like it should be criminal because isn't this attempted murder? It is assault with a deadly weapon. It is a lot of things. It's a very violent crime. So I think it's more than civil. But let's continue on. It shows Ford Theriot firing a gun at a customer in the drive-through of the Jack in the Box on JFK Boulevard near Bush Intercontinental Airport. Callinan's client is the customer, Anthony Ramos. He was in the driver's seat with his wife and child also in the vehicle, according to the lawsuit. Now, I don't know why they're trying to sue this woman because apparently she doesn't have much of anything. If she's working at the drive through of Jack in the Box, willing to risk it all, saying that she's just trying to make a way and support her family, what do you really think you're going to get out of this? She's aiming, she's leaning, she's not just going up in the air, she's trying to kill them. Callanan said in a news conference Tuesday morning. Well, if she's trying to kill him, then why wouldn't this be filed in criminal? Why is this filed in civil? What do you really think you're going to get from this lady? Like, are you trying to punish her? Are you trying to sue her? Do you want her to go to jail and face repercussions? Or do you want your client to reap some type of monetary gain or reward? And if she's working at Jack in the Box, chances are likely you're not going to get much out of the situation for you or your client. But anyway, let's keep going on. It was pointed right at me. I'm surprised she didn't get me, Ramos added after saying the dispute was over curly fries that were missing from his order. She said we weren't going to get them. I'm not going to pull out no gun and shoot at somebody over no curly fries. Come on, Ford Theriot said in response to the allegations. The 30-year-old met with ABC 13 Tuesday afternoon to defend herself. She said Ramos was threatening her and calling her racial slurs, which he denies. Of course. Now, with a last name such as Ramos, it is probably safe to say that he was Hispanic. Now, could there have been something to infuriate this woman? Probably so. Seems far fetched that someone would just pull out a gun and shoot simply because curly fries are missing out of the order. I think they had some word exchange going on, and she probably was antagonized, and defamatory words were probably used to heighten the situation, causing what ensued next, which was a gun being pulled out, which that should have never happened, especially if her life was not in jeopardy, you all. Okay, so the video shows her checking her gun. She said she asked him to drive away several times. He refused. The video captures the gunfire. Okay, so clearly she's inside, he's outside. Now, if you're in fear and you're telling someone to drive off, chances are you could have avoided that situation and that encounter by just getting away from the drive-through window. But she was infuriated. She went and got her gun. Okay. All right. Now, the 30-year-old met with ABC. Okay, so we read that the video does show you shoot at him. What if you had hit them? ABC reporter Jessica Wiley asked. If you hear the audio, you didn't hear the gun go off at all, she replied. There is no audio on the video that Callanan released, but it does show a muzzle flash. And according to court records, Houston police found a spent shell casing. Ford Theriot was initially charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. You all, let me share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at here. All right. Here we go. This way we can all read this together. All right. She said, if you hear the audio, you didn't hear the gun go off at all, she replied. There's no audio on that video that Callahan released, but it does show a muzzle flash. And according to court records, Houston police found a spent shell casing. Houston, y'all, what is going on out there? Oh my goodness. Ford Theriot was initially charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. See, I told you. That's what it sounded like to me. A felony, but pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of deadly conduct, which is a misdemeanor. So she knew she was in the wrong. A full investigation of the facts by us led the district attorney's office to realize the shortcomings in their case based on facts that have not been reported thus far. Her criminal defense attorney, Daniel Rullinger, told ABC 13. Fort Theriot got 1 year of deferred adjudication community supervision, which she completed in June of 2023. She and the restaurant still face the civil lawsuit in which Ramos and his family claim they were exposed to a dangerous employee and were traumatized. So it sounds like they're not only trying to sue her, but they're really aiming towards suing Jack in the Box because she was an employee which was representing them at the time that this took place. In court filings, the fast food restaurant denied the allegations and said it had no control over and it is not legally responsible for third parties. A company spokesman sent the following statement to Eyewitness News. While we cannot comment on ongoing litigation, we are aware of the situation involving an employee of one of our independent franchises and remain focused on providing a safe environment for customers and restaurant workers. For more on this story, follow Jessica Wiley on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, you all. All right. Now, there is a clip of what took place. There is a clip here. And let me see here if we can find that clip so you all can witness this as well. Hmm. Mm-mm-mm. Got to be more careful.
Over curly fries.
ABC 13's Jessica Willie spoke to that woman who no longer works for the fast food chain. Jessica?
Yeah, on the same day that
All right, Jessica, we're really not trying to see you. What we're really trying to see is the video clip that took place. So let me go ahead and pull that up. Just a moment, you all. Oh, goodness, goodness, goodness. What has this world come to? You have to be careful at these fast food places, and people should not be antagonizing people. See, I think that's the problem when people feel that they can be antagonistic and think that they're not going to suffer any repercussions. I would say something had to infuriate this lady for her to go and get her gun. Not saying that it was proper, but if he was yelling out racial epithets, then perhaps he would think about that again the next time he wants to do things. Because sometimes people can be degrading to the workers because they feel a sense of superiority. They feel a sense of being, I guess, less responsible, because they feel like the customer is always right. The customer has, the right of way to do what they want. And that is simply not true. You have to treat everybody with respect. Does that warrant her getting a gun and shooting at them? It does not. She really could have killed someone. And so she does have to face the consequences for that, you all. Shooting. Okay, here we go. When I saw this, it looked rather shocking. So here we go. There is a camera that did capture this. I'm going to pull that up in just a moment. All right, let's go ahead and share. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So we do not. Who's trying to see? Here it is.
For a food order, including a side of curly fries. But
All right. Now, what you see is the confrontation taking place. You see it right there. Someone's throwing things. He's throwing things out. She's throwing. So they're throwing things out of the window at one another. That's what it looks like. Now, I don't know who threw what first. I can't really tell. So I'm going to try to play this back again. Yeah, they're throwing stuff. They are definitely having a confrontation. That's her holding the gun. That's her aiming the gun at them as they speed off. So that doesn't look too good on her behalf. So, you all, what can we learn from this? We've got to do better. We've got to do better. We cannot let people dictate our emotions and actions because a simple 1 minute, 30-second argument, your actions in those couple of seconds can dictate the rest of your life. Someone could have gotten killed, someone could have gotten hurt. She really could have ended up behind bars, you all. So we have to think more clearly whenever someone is trying to antagonize us. So moving on, let's look at the total chaos that took place. This was at a Charlotte Mecklenburg school. So unfortunately, people are getting to a riot at a game, at a high school game, you all. And not only was it the children, but the parents. I think the parents were involved. So let's take a look at this as well. And this is what I'm saying, y'all. People, we have got to do better. This makes no sense at all. It is very embarrassing. Of course, a lot of these people are melanated. And I don't know why people want to act like this in public. I don't think people should have to get to this point of acting this way. But unfortunately, these are the things that go on in this world. And if this is what's going on now, and you have the future children that have to look up to this type of mess, what do you think the world is going to be like in 10 years from now? It is bad enough as it is. And it's very unfortunate that people are not setting a better example out here. So let's go ahead and show this as well, since we're going. All right, let's see if this will come up. Oh, here it is. Here it is, y'all. This was what took place at a homecoming game. People can't even go to school. You can't even go to games anymore. People are shooting. I know I have seen at some of these games where the police are out there monitoring the schools. Um, it is it has gotten out of control out here. So let's go ahead and play this video.
High School in West Charlotte. Channel 9's Evan Donovan is live
Complete and utter nonsense, you all. That's what this is.
on the campus now. And Evan, what more have you learned about changes that could come after this?
Yeah, Erica, my colleague Jonathan Lowe, our colleague, reports that CMS is looking at changing guidelines for fans, and not just because of this incident here at the school behind me on Friday night. Channel 9 has learned there was another incident at West Charlotte High School's football game that involved adults in the parking lot.
Not what anyone expects to see at a high school homecoming game. Friday night, people brawling in the bleachers during halftime of the game between Harding University High and visiting North Meck.
All I could see was arms swinging.
Annette Albright told me she saw it firsthand. She's a former teacher at Harding.
Look at that little lady. She's a former teacher. It has gotten out of control out here. And honestly, This is why a lot of people don't even like to go in public. This is why a lot of people stay inside. A lot of people don't frequent public places. And you can't get around a whole lot of melanated people because they don't know how to act. It's always something very minute that turns into something very major and leads into nonsense like this.
Harding and says she ran to get police.
The altercations did not stop. They kept growing. And I turned around to literally see a student that had on a white hoodie literally punching a female with both arms. I mean, just fleeing. And I'm like, stop hitting her. And it was just total chaos. It was, and it seemed like it lasted forever.
CMS claims the fight started with two females who were not students at Harding. Albright, who is running for CMS school board, says that's what she saw too. She also says some school staffers were hit trying to break it up.
Now, this whole thing ensued over two females that don't even go to the school at the game, and everybody has gotten into a brawl.
I turned around to kind of follow the principal, and I saw him grabbing some students, and I'm not sure if they were intentionally trying to hit him, but they were fighting back. And I saw him go down in between the bleachers.
Harding principal Glenn Starnes told our partners at the Charlotte Observer that what happened was, quote, an embarrassment to our community. He said it does not align to the values of excellence held at our school.
CMS tells us one person reported having a minor injury, a bump on the head. It's
Absolutely. This is an embarrassment, y'all. That's why I said we have got to do better. There is no excuse for these antics and this type of behavior. I don't know why, people think that this type of behavior is appropriate. Clearly it's not. And enough of the antics, y'all. People, we just got to do better. I don't even know what else to say other than we need to really get it together, y'all. It doesn't stop. This type of stuff keeps going on, and we as melanated people in the community cannot afford to continue these antics, especially with everything that's going on out here. The government is talking about doing another shutdown. And if that does happen, it's going to be complete chaos and confusion. It's going to hit people financially. So this is one of the times where people really need to stick together instead of going at one another. Now, there is another situation that took place that I want to share with you all as well. This happened earlier this year, and this was July 5th of 2023, which is July 4th weekend. And what happened in this scenario was another brawl. Who did it involve? Melanated people once more. Okay. So let me go ahead and play this clip so you can all see for yourselves. Yeah, I just want to talk about this stuff because, like I said, people have got to draw attention to it. I don't know if it's the music amping up all of this stuff. Is it the videos? Are they influenced by social media? But I mean, come on now. It's time to act like mature adults. When you reach the level of being high school age, you should start conducting yourself in a better situation than what's being displayed, because you're only a few years away from being considered a complete adult, and you can go to jail for a long time for stuff like this.
Officer to a person at Ramir Bearden Park trying to be able to see if his family was safe once all the commotion just broke out. Another family says they went to the second floor of the parking garage to escape the crowds. A Queen City News reporter Will Lewis spoke to one man who caught last night's chaos all on camera. Will, you're joining us live tonight from Ramir Bearden Park. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Alicia, it all took place right here, according to Blake Justice. And Justice has only lived in the...
How it is every year. It's my first time.
All right,
It's my first time being.
we're going to see if we can blow this up. I don't know if it'll blow up or not. Let's see.
Blake Justice says this is not the experience he wanted in Uptown for his family.
It was just really chaos. You've seen, and there was people already packing up, and leaving that were already set up. You've seen a lot of disgruntled, angry couples.
Justice giving this video to Queen City News, saying it took place before the July 4th fireworks. He went up to the second floor of a parking garage on the corner of South Church Street and West Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard to avoid the crowds. There were two loud booms.
That could have been a gunshot.
Then a series of fireworks, sending the crowd scrambling.
You heard all the screaming. You've seen all those little other explosions, people trying to compete with the main show, shooting their fireworks up, hitting people's balconies.
CMPD officers came down the street on dirt bikes, trying to gain control of the crowd. But Justice says he and a couple visiting from Brazil say this is their last trip to the heart of the Queen City.
That is just so sad. What kind of impression does that make?
he said that is just so sad. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, y'all. You know, people just sometimes when they get out, they just act crazy. You know what I'm saying? They did arrest 30 people. And let's hear what Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department had to say about these antics. Y'all, like I said, people, we have got to do better. There are better ways for people to spend their time other than causing chaos and confusion out here. I don't know what is wrong with people. Let's see. Here we go. We didn't ask for all of that. Okay. Thank you very much, Shopify or whoever it is. No, thank you. Here we go, y'all.
I want to make a comment that you did hear the numbers. You did hear what the events led to last night. But I also want to commend our officers and our staff for the robust plan that was put together, how we were able to execute that plan, de-escalate a lot of situations that could have easily gotten well out of control last night, as well as taking guns off the streets in a crowd of people that were just there to enjoy the festivities. I will say that you look at some of the things that have been going on as far as what happened last night, but I will tell you also that's not who Charlotte is, and that's not what we represent. A few people who decided to come out into the crowd last night for the main purpose of disrupting a festive event with peaceful people that were out there just to enjoy the holidays caused so much disruption that people couldn't enjoy it fully like they wanted to. Families, children.
And you see, that's again, like I said, this is why a lot of people stay in the house. They don't come out because when people get out there, they don't know how to act.
Many that were from out of town that were coming to enjoy the fireworks, which was an awesome display of a celebration, were disrupted by a few people that were there intentionally to cause issues. And for that, I'm disappointed.
All right. All right. All right. So he shares his disappointment, you all. Oh boy. Interesting things are going on. If that wasn't bad enough, you all, I want to share one more thing in other news because there is something else that took place. Again, this was in Charlotte. This was near Clanton Road on I-77 headed northbound. And I'm going to share that with you in just a moment if we can get this pulled up. Because like I said, people are tyrannical out here. People are just uncaring. They're callous. It's very disheartening what's happening in this world, especially with everything that's going on. You just got to be careful, be vigilant, proactive, continue to pray because it's crazy out here, y'all. It is complete and utterly chaotic out here. All right, let's see if it will open up for y'all. All right, here we go. All right. So now they're shooting on the interstate. All right. And as you can clearly see here, they have all of this stuff, all of this confusion on the interstate. This is what took place. And this was not too long ago, y'all.
Good.
Oh, we did not ask for this. I just can't.
Airheads have more fun.
Shut it down.
I want to let you know about this breaking news, and it's a big one along I-77. We are working right now to learn more about a situation on I-77 near Clanton Road that has traffic backed up considerably right now. You're looking at live pictures. This is just below the Clanton Road exit on I-77 North. They've changed the camera angle here several times. Look at the top of your screen there. You can see emergency crews up there. We don't know what this situation is, but interestingly enough, in the northbound lanes on the right side of your screen there, we've actually seen, there you see a truck or a vehicle turning around, and we've actually seen vehicles going southbound in those northbound lanes now as that traffic has been backed up. Take a look at what you're seeing right now. You do see other vehicles there. The track.
So they're actually going the wrong way on the interstate because they've shut down and they've been barricaded because of a shooting on the interstate. And they did say one person was shot near the ramp. So we don't even know. They don't know why it happened. Nobody knows anything. And these are the things you have to think of every time you leave out of your house. The world has gone insane. People are crazy out here, y'all. You have to be vigilant and just be careful out here.
Tractor trailers just stopped there along I-77 North. This again is at Clanton Road here in Charlotte. According to medic, one person's been taken to the hospital after they were shot on the ramp from I-77 to Clanton Road. So that's what we're dealing with here. We're told that person has life-threatening injuries. But again, traffic is stopped on I-77 North at Clanton.
Okay. Y'all, chaos and confusion. Jack in the Box, be careful. I-77 drivers, be careful. And if you're going to July 4th weekend, be careful because you never know what may be taking place. Hide your kids, hide your wife. They bring in guns, they might bring a knife. You know what I'm saying? We ain't come to cause no strife, y'all. So what else did I want to talk about, y'all? I also, it's so many things going on. I did want to talk. I think I'm going to get into that later. Yeah, the CIA has released some documents, but I think I will talk about that on another video. I don't think I want to run that together. Special operations. Okay, there's Operation Chaos. I'm going to get into that on another video as well. Let me see what else we have. Just trying to see some things that I wanted to go over because I had several things. So we talked about the Jack in the Box situation. Let's delete that. Total chaos. Yeah, we talked about that. Let's delete that. A lot is going on. Now, last time we talked a bit about the immigration situation that's going on here in America and the fact that Trump was actually talking about border control, which I think is something that's very, very prevalent right now. A lot of people are getting more and more concerned about it. And I can see why, because a lot of American citizens are not benefiting by being a citizen, from being naturally born on this earth, on this land. And a lot of the foreigners and the immigrants and the migrants are reaping more benefits by coming over here. They're getting loans, they're getting benefits, they're getting resources handed to them that our tax dollars have paid for. And when Americans need assistance, they're not able to receive it. So I can understand the frustration there. And so let me go to this document here. All right. This is something that I tried to share on the last video. And for whatever reason, I don't think it played all the way through. Therefore, what I will do is go ahead and copy it. And I'm going to play it for you now so that we can get into this, because I think this is something that we do need to touch on. It is something that is affecting many Americans here in the United States, in this place called America. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen so you can all take a look at this as well. I would take the stars out the sky for you. There's nothing in this world that I wouldn't do, boy. If I could be your girl. Shout out to Maya. All right. Angel, you're my light. Angel, I want to be your wife. Angel, that may be yours. All right. So, okay, who really benefits from illegal immigrants, you might wonder? That's a good question. My phone is fully charged. I just got the alert. So I don't want to overpower my phone. So let me go ahead and disconnect it. Who benefits from illegal immigrants? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. So let me share. Okay. Let me share the screen because I don't think most of us are benefiting off the illegal immigrants. And this is what Donald Trump was saying when he said, we're going to take back America because it's ridiculous what has happened in the last few years. Excuse me, y'all. All right. So I will definitely post this link in the description if anybody wants to watch this documentary. It's about 15 minutes long.
To their home country. In the case of Mexico, that is a staggering amount of about $35 billion a year. In the case of all of Central America, it's about $30 billion. Think of it, $65 billion leaves the United States, and it becomes the largest source of foreign exchange for the governments south of the border. It gets worse than that in a way, or more ironic, or more deleterious to the American citizen, because to free up that money from impoverished people, that means they have to go work in a meat plant, they work as waiters, they work as cooks, and then they send $200 or $300 a week. But who makes up the difference? Who supplies the subsidies so that can free up that cash? The taxpayer does, the citizen does. And by that,
all right, now listen to what he said. Who supplies the subsidies for this situation? The taxpayer. Who are the taxpayers? Who are the people paying taxes? You know, when you fill out the job application and they say, will you be required to be sponsored to work here? Blah, blah, blah. Will you require a visa? Blah, blah, blah. Are you over the age of 18? Then they start asking about your racial demographics. And then they want to know, are you disabled? Are you a protected veteran? All these questions they want to ask, right? All of these things are supplied by the American paying taxpayer. The American paying tax dollars are paying for these things. So you could see why a lot of people are frustrated with the antics that are taking place with the immigration situation, illegal immigrants and the migrants. And this is what Donald Trump was referencing, okay, when he said we're going to put up a border and Mexico is going to pay for it.
I mean, they need housing subsidies, they need legal subsidies, they need education subsidies, they need food subsidies. And through that subsidization of the illegal immigrant,
most people have no clue
Come
that
on, break it down for us. Let us know what's going on here. We already know. We already know what's happening. I told you they're getting all the resources and the benefits.
South of the border. I say enrich because their social services are not equitable, fair, or generous. They rely on remittances as a private substitute for what they should be doing publicly by the government. But the illegal entry of millions of people has another deleterious effect, and that is it overtaxes our own social services. So if you have a doctor that treats young children, or you have prenatal care offered to the poor, U.S. citizen poor, all of a sudden you have a wave of people coming in illegally, in aggregate 2 million. So in this zero-sum game of allotment, the U.S. citizen has less care rarer care and not as good care simply because the medical system, doctors and nurses, are overwhelmed with people who do not speak English, that have an array of medical problems, and yet cannot afford to pay for their own medical care, and then ironically somehow have money to send back to the tune of $65 billion a year to their home countries.
Oh, let's stop right there. Did he say $65 billion that these illegal immigrants are sending back to their own countries? So you're taking the American dollars out of this country and funding your own country, right? But then you come over here and need medical benefits, medical care. A lot of American citizens are being denied medical benefits, being denied insurance, being denied Medicaid, Medicare. Insurance doesn't want to cover this and that, but they can come over here and receive all of this funding. You see how backwards this is? This is probably why Trump said, "Let's make America great again," wearing those mega hats, y'all.
So to answer our question, the governments of Mexico and Central America have a large role to play in illegal immigration that diminishes the sanctity of citizenship for Americans. The second group, though, is us. And this gets more complicated. It's not a political question. If you are a Republican, chamber.
Okay. So they just put on their American businesses, their profit. Where do we normally see that? We normally see American businesses profiting when usually they hire when they hire like the illegal immigrants to do like working on houses. I see that a lot. I see that they have the Mexicans, the Hispanics working on houses. They're on the rooftops. They are the ones that are basically building your houses, you all, these new construction developments. All the companies are using them. I haven't seen one company that does not use these migrants as labor workers. And a lot of times they will pretend like they don't speak no English, but they do speak the English, okay? They speak of the English. They pretend like they don't because they can count that money. So I know they speak some type of English. I've tried to make contact with them. I've tried speaking to them. They act like they don't know. They no habla español. They no habla English. My apologies. They no habla English, right? But they habla español, but they act like they don't know what they're saying. So how did you get this job if you don't speak English? How are you able to do this? Like they look out for each other. They look out for their own. So like I said, the American businesses are profiting, especially these major corporations that use them to build homes. The home building industry heavily funds these migrants and these illegal immigrants. And this is how they have all the money. When you see them in Walmart, they pull out that big wad of cash and they're able to pay for things in cash because they're probably not legally documented, which means that they don't really get banks. They don't really have like, bank accounts. They might be getting paid under the table. So you got to think about that. We see a lot of this going on all the time. And as long as it's going to benefit the business, who's going to stop these corporations and these home builders from hiring the Mexicans and the Hispanics to work on the houses? So that is just something to think about. So let's get back into it. Let's get back into it, y'all.
We're a commerce supporter, corporation. You want workers that will be industrious at the lowest wage possible. So what we've seen for the last 40 years are meatpacking plants, agriculture, hospitality industry, landscaping, says to companies throughout the United States, we've got to band together because we have interest in an open border. Our population, as we've seen in an earlier lecture, is fossilizing. It's static. Our demography is shrinking. We're at 1.8, 1.9 of our replacement. We need young men, especially young women. If they come across the border, no questions asked. They're vulnerable. They're worried about their immigration status. They work very hard. Compared to rural Mexico, the United States is.
Okay, so basically what he's saying, and I'm going to stop playing the video. These people are basically desperate. They're desperate to come over here. So they will work for very low wages. So they can get paid less than most Americans, because most Americans are not going to work for wages that low, especially if they're doing labor. So these people would do hospitality. This is why you always see them in hotel rooms cleaning. They do janitorial work, a lot of the jobs that a lot of people don't want. They will do house cleaning, nanny services. You see them doing landscape, ton of landscapers out in the hot sun sweating. They have machinery, equipment. You see them with these big Ford F-150 trucks, F-250 trucks, F-350 trucks. How are they getting these trucks? Because they all live together in one common abode. They rent their rooms out. They band together. They stick together. They will lie for one another. How do I know? When I worked insurance claims and I had to get statements from them, take recorded statements, they told obvious lies, you all, and they are not going to tell on one another. When I worked at the bank, they open credit cards and they run the credit cards up and they go back to their own country. This happens a lot. Okay. So this is what's going on, y'all. All right. So let's get into um do we want to talk about the digital dollar, or do we want to get into Trump on border control? I think we should talk about Trump on border control, because that is one of his themes for his campaign run. And we know he talked about that heavily. I think last time he talked about it, and he's talking about it again. Let me see if I can find that video. Yeah, he's been on a campaign run. And so I had the chance to watch some of him. But he's very interesting, y'all. Okay, here we go. If your feelings Friday. And then my thing is taking a while here to play. So it's freezing and pausing. My apologies for that. Nonsense. We don't need all of that. All right, here we go.
border policy of the Biden administration and commenced the largest deportation operation in American history. We have no choice. This is not sustainable. You don't have to know very much to know. I looked at Tucson, Arizona today. Did you see that? Thousands and thousands of people all over. People walk out of their house, they say, what's happened to our beautiful place? But this is in many towns and cities all over. Look at New York City. But you see New York, but you don't see other places so much. And it's happening like that. Much worse, actually, much worse. This is not sustainable. No country can sustain it, or financially can sustain it. Nobody can possibly sustain something like this.
And I agree. I do agree with that. I don't think that America can sustain this illegal migration of immigrants over here that are taking the jobs, taking the resources, taking the benefits, taking the American dollars from the American people. It's very completely unfair, especially if you've been an avid worker here in the United States, and your taxpayer dollars, you really have no say so how it's delegated. They just take it out of your check before you even see it. And then the IRS tries to tell you if you made too much, then you have to pay them back at the end of the year, end of the fiscal year. It's crazy and it's ridiculous. After we're already being taxed on everything we purchase, we're taxed on what we buy. We're taxed if we're W-2 employees. We are taxed and have to pay personal property tax if we have a car. We are also taxed on real estate taxes if we have a house. We're taxed all the way across the world, across the border in the United States. But you mean to tell me you can have illegal immigrants and some of them come over here and don't have to pay taxes? How is that even fair? Okay, it's not. It's not right.
And they're putting young children into schools who don't speak any English, and they're in school. Nobody is there to teach them. They're sitting in class. They don't understand anything that's going on in the school. It's a horrible situation, and it would have never happened in a year. We had the strongest border.
Now, speaking about the school system, my friend in Dallas that works at the school basically shared with me that she witnessed that there are Hispanic children. And I'm going to tell you something. The other day, I was riding through this neighborhood and I looked at that school bus when they were letting the children off. I could have counted the amount. It was only like, I would literally say 4 melanated children, and every single one of those children getting off that bus were of Hispanic descent. That was it. There was nobody else getting off that bus. But back to his point, what Trump was saying, I did speak to my friend, and she was saying that even in the schools, they have Hispanic children. They even interpret, like they do have interpreters, someone to translate. I think they were paying one of the children to translate for the other children. So not only are they able to come over here and go to school and get an education for free, but they also had a translator, and I think it's one of the students translating for the other children that could not understand English. So this is how comfortable they are making them over here. Not to mention that they have their own TV channels, they have their own stores, they have their taco stands on every gas station like it's a McDonald's, like it's a Bank of America on every corner, like it's crack cocaine. Nobody says anything to them about these taco trucks. Nobody says anything about them having a vendor license, a vendor permit that they're soliciting on public property. But when a melanated person pulls up and they set up their table in their tent and they start to vend and they have a brand or a business, they are given the most hardest time in this world just to make a dollar in this place called the United States of America. That's supposed to be their own country. They're supposed to be a citizen here. And it's not right. How do I know this? Because I pulled over to the side of the road and I saw these guys outside selling their merchandise. And I commended them because we need to see more of that, more street vending. But they're trying to take that away in certain places. I know in New York, it's very notorious to be out there vending on the street, but a lot of places don't allow it. You will be ticketed. And I've even heard that some people said the police will even arrest you just for being outside trying to make an honest living by selling merchandise or just selling something that's not illegal. You're not selling pills, you're not selling drugs, you're simply selling merchandise and you're being targeted. Because if you don't play into the system of being on the corporate plantation, then this is what they want you to do. They don't want you to be independent from them. So this is how they keep you in line. Well, let's hear what Donald Trump has to say more about this topic.
Border in history. Now we have the worst border in the history of the world. There's never been a third world country that had a border like this, ever. There's never been anything like it. We built nearly 500 miles of border wall. You know, they like to say we built 57 miles. No, we built over 500. In fact, if you look at the various government statistics, we did a great job. And I had to fight Paul Ryan. I call him Paul Rhino. But I had to fight Paul Rhino, and I had to fight Mitch McConnell, another beauty. And I ended up taking the money out of the military. I said, it's an invasion. I'm sorry. And we built 500 miles of wall, which is what it is.
Okay, so do you remember that year when Trump said we're going to build a wall and Mexico is going to pay for it? So I didn't know he was really serious. I thought he was joking. Okay, but that's what he's talking about.
It's an invasion. And then was ready to do another. We had already the wall built, and we were going to add another 200. I wanted to do 5. We did 5. I was going to add another 200. We built it. It was all set. All we had to do was erect it. Very simple. Could have been done in 3 to 4 weeks. And then we had the election situation, and they took over, and they actually took it away and put it in faraway places. And Texas wanted to buy it and put it up, and they wouldn't sell it to them. And Arizona wanted to buy it and put it up, and they wouldn't sell it to them. But we got Mexico to give us 28,000 soldiers free of charge. That was an amazing thing. I went to the State Department. I said, Mexico has to do this. They have to do this. And they said, they'll never do it, sir. I said, yes, they will, 100%. And we had a little negotiation with Mexico. And I said to them, listen, if you don't do it, they said, no, we're not going to do it under any circumstances. And I happen to like the president of Mexico, even though he's a socialist, but you can't have everything, right? I like him.
He is a trip, y'all.
He's a good man, but he's a little different than my way of thinking. And I said, no, you're going to do it. And I met with their top representative, and he sort of laughed at me when I said, you're going to give us 28,000 soldiers free of charge. And he said, no, we're not going to do that. I said, here's the story. I have in front of me a piece of paper, and the paper says very strongly that on Monday morning at 7 o'clock, you're going to be charged 25% tariffs on all of the cars that you're sending into the United States. You know, they took 32% of our automobile business prior to us getting there, 32%. They send millions of cars in. They said, we're going to tax you 25% and 25% on every other product you sell into the United States. And he said, sir, do you mind if I make a phone call? It'll just take a minute. And he came back 5 minutes later and he said, sir, we'd be honored to let you have 28,000. It was rather
very clever, y'all.
And the woman in the State Department, who's actually a very good woman, she has never won any of these things, but she was a good woman. She said, I've never seen anything like that in my life. But we also got remain in Mexico. That means they stay in Mexico. They don't come in, they stay in Mexico. And Biden ended that. And that was not easy to get. And in fact, they went to a judge to have it terminated. And the judge said, you can't do this. You'll destroy our country. He let it stay. He wouldn't do it. But it terminated in 6 months. And it should have never been done. And deported illegal aliens by the tens of thousands. We had MS-13, the meanest gang. They killed 2 young girls with knives walking to school in Long Island. They killed them with knives. They carved them up because shooting is too quick. They loved using knives. They're sick. And by the way, we have people in ICE and Border Patrol. They're unbelievable. They're patriots. They're incredible. If we didn't have them, this country would be overrun. They don't get enough credit. And they'll run into a nest of, they call them a nest, and they'll run and you'll see those fists. And I have a lot of friends that are in these front rows, and some of them are tough, but they don't want this job. This is not for them, I will tell you. But these guys are tough and smart. And
we all have heard of MS-13. It is a very, very dangerous Latino gang that runs rapid here in the United States. So that's what he's talking about.
Incredible patriots, and it's a very dangerous living, but they do an incredible job. We took them out by the thousands and thousands. And you know, when I first came, I said, no, we have to bring them back to their country of origin. And they said, sir, they won't accept them. Under President Obama, they wouldn't accept them. They would actually put airplanes on the runway so you couldn't land the plane loaded up with gang members and very bad people. Prisoners came into our country. And I said, how much money do we give these countries? Sir, $750 million a year. That's a lot. They said $750 million. All right, ended immediately. And the next morning, all 3 called me up separately. Sir, there seems to be a miscommunication. What's the problem? I said, you're not taking back your people that came illegally into our country. We want you to take them back. Sir, we would be honored to take them back. We would love to have MS-13 back in our country, sir. Sir, when will the payments start? It's amazing. I mean, we just don't use the powers that we have. We have tremendous economic powers that we don't use. That includes with China. We took in more money with China than...
You know, Trump has a very, very interesting relationship with China.
Anybody, nobody has ever even come close. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars with China. They were dumping steel, ruining our steel industry. They were doing things that shouldn't have done. And I put tariffs of 25 and 50% on them, different products coming in. And we took in hundreds of billions of dollars. And those tariffs are still on, you know. Biden can't doesn't have the courage. There's so much money coming in, and he shouldn't. I guess they're probably trying to end it, but they're not able to because it's just so powerful, so much, hundreds of billions of dollars. No other president took in 10 cents from China. But I will also use Title 42 to end the child trafficking crisis by returning all trafficked children to their families.
Now, see, I really have not heard any president speak on that. So, getting back to the China thing, right? It's interesting because they always say that we're trillions and trillions of dollars indebted, to China, but he put tariffs on China and he said it brought in hundreds of billions. So I don't understand why no one has thought about doing that. He said they weren't being taxed anything. And the child trafficking thing, I've really never heard anybody talking or speaking about this in politics. And so it's no secret that it does happen. So we know that it's going on, but no one really addresses it, to my knowledge, anyway.
In their home countries immediately.
And he said it's going to return the trafficked children back to their home countries immediately, y'all. So I think it's some very, very interesting scenarios taking place. This is a very interesting situation that is going on around us. This is very interesting times that we're in. Hopefully, we can get some resolution and resolve, because what's going on in this country is atrocious. We have so many things going on, from the child trafficking to the homelessness to the lack of, people having income, the lack of income, people not being able to afford housing because of the interest rates. People's credit scores are suffering because of what happened with COVID. People had to close their businesses down, small businesses, and the fact that they sent people home and then they want them to come back into the office, people being threatened to take injections against their will. And if they don't, then, they're in fear of losing their jobs. It's just a lot of things going on. And this is why I think that, even though I speak to melanated people heavily on this channel, because I'm a melanated being and I see the antics that are taking place against us, I know that our actual power is in our unity in our community. But unfortunately, you have so many people that want to fight one another. They want to keep arguing with one another. You have people in your own family that are jealous of you, sending negative energy your way. And we really don't have time for that. Like, we're fighting a much bigger fight here in America. Being a citizen here is not all that is cracked up to be. They use a lot of propaganda techniques when they show, America to like foreigners and people that come to this country. They think it's very glorified. But once they get here, they see that it's something totally different. I was talking to a guy that was, he's part Thai and part American. And he basically said that he sees the propaganda. It's very kind of boring here, but when they glorify everything on TV to the rest of the nations and the rest of the world, they paint a portrait that is not reality. That's not how Americans are living over here. And they're probably only showing the select 1% that are living a certain way. So these antics need to stop. I think we need to branch out to our counterparts across the world, to the Asians across the world, to people in Europe, people in Africa, people in South America. We have social media. We need to sometimes make Facebook friends with these people, Instagram friends, Twitter friends, all these social platforms. We need to tag them in, hashtag them, so they can listen in to our platforms. American English is the universal language, so it is taught in a lot of different countries. That's why they're bilingual. They can speak our language and they can speak their native tongue. We need to actually include them in a lot of our conversations, you all, because they play on the divisiveness amongst people. And it's not just here in America. This is done by world leaders, and it's done by the government in every country. And until the people start standing up against these propaganda techniques and these strategies, we're going to continue this upward battle, and we're going to be continuing a fight that we're losing right now. So you all, this has been an episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. I'm not going to be on here much longer. I didn't want to make this broadcast too long, but I did want to come on and share a few videos with you, share some of my commentary, some of my opinion, and delve a little into, the politics that's at play right now. If there's any type of topic that you like to discuss or anything that you'd like to cover, please feel free to comment in the comment section. Again, like, share, and subscribe. I'm definitely very, very appreciative of the new subscribers that I've gotten. I did see that coming through. I pay attention to that. So thank you so much for joining the platform. I appreciate the support to my new subscribers. I hope this channel continues to grow on all platforms. I know that a lot of times when you speak about realistic topics and you're not talking about Jeannie Mai, you're not talking about young Jeezy or Jeezy, you don't get pushed in the algorithm as much. People want to hear about Remy Ma and Papoose, about how their marriage isn't working, how Jeannie Mai's marriage isn't working. She's fighting for her marriage, how everybody's breaking up. Shirley Strawberry and her husband are separating. Marjorie and Steve Harvey. I could care less about these people. Those people don't know me. And honestly, these topics that I'm talking about are topics that affect a lot more of us than anybody else's marriage. Okay. And trust and believe, if your marriage is falling apart, those people are not going to care about your marriage either. So I just had to say that. So that's why I don't really delve too much into the nonsense of, celebrity gossip. Could I add my opinion on it? Yes. And maybe I will do some commentary on those things on another date. But this has been an episode of F Your Feelings Friday, y'all. Okay. So F Your Feelings Friday is live, in effect, and direct. And we'll be back next week. So you all, my testimony is, even though my week has been very catastrophic, I'm still here. I'm still living. I'm still breathing. And I'm still very blessed to be here. And I just want to give a special shout out to all the brown, beautiful girls, the brown girls that are beautiful across the globe, inwardly and outwardly, you all. The fact that we don't have to, get plastic surgery. You don't have to have tons of makeup. You don't have to have fake lashes, fake weave, fake nails. You don't have to get your all your body enhanced. Just embracing how the creator made you is just fine. And you don't need to put toxins in your body to be accepted by anyone. Just know that. And continue to walk in your divinity, everybody. Continue your dreams and passions. That's all I want to say with closing out in those words. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, if you would like to support the channel, you can not hashtag, $ BGAB clothing. Again, it's $ BGAB clothing if you'd like to support the channel. All right, you all, I am signing out. Signing out, y'all. Good night. Stay blessed.